It all comes down to skin and bone. We deny it, but we're wrong. Our loves and losses mean nothing to anyone but ourselves. When the lights go out, we are alone. Thank you.
Our next honorable mention winner is Mary Elizabeth Parker. She's not with us today, but we are lucky that she did make one video, and we are going to get the pleasure of her reading. She's the author of the poetry collection, The Sex Girl, and 4 chapbooks, including Carrie Girl. And she's the creator and the chair of the Dana Awards in the novel, short fiction, and poetry. That is in its 20th year now. Mary Elizabeth Parker.
Oh, there's a weight of birds. I poem of book I'm working and a weight of birds. 1. She wakes to the tingling of molecules in her sunset, still lightly sent to the pearl-gray breast of an unnameable bird. Feels, skilled, the infinitesimally brittle ribs, the heat of its rapido heart, wrapped as if its fuel is light, sifted, spun sugar grains. And now she lunges up from her gray body to blue light. Her delicacy of attention at the liminal point where bird dissolves. 2. Fell dead, an owl perched on her building's gargoyle. Woman next apartment bagged the weight of feathers in her freezer before night coyotes could drag it to their den, muzzled out in the bayberry hedge at the municipal library. Pat thrives where one would think it absolutely could not, like the Marsh Vireo after Chernobyl. Pet dogs who died this year from each house in the city galump all night with coyotes, or range at the top of stoops like totems, alert for ceremony. Her tiny pug caught and killed the male cardinal, and now the nest she can't find holds its sour eggs, the spelling of her watch that won't come. She whose husband cleaves to another woman's breaths, sows breadcrumbs out from the closet she waits in, lost to him to hear her bird heart racing. Breathes her son's chest, ball of her thumb tracing the rise of each rib formed below hers. 3. Her lover, spied in this city, has not entered in years, kept an African gray, loosed parrot perched big in the wounded dogwood at his old front door. The house condemned now, yet his love, aborting the child when they both feared everything, waits on the stoop with a 9-year-old son.
Our next honorable mention winner is Mike Say. He is one of the youngest poets, and this was the idea at the very beginning of the festival, to create an environment not only to serve to the poets around the world, especially here in our hometown, and also to the rising poets. Mike Say is a Georgia native, and he's completing his 3rd year at the Georgia State University's MFA program. He has worked at the literary journal 5 Points as an editorial assistant, and he currently teaches freshman composition at Georgia State. His work has been published in Rebel and Concrete Poetry. His work is forthcoming in Negative Capability Press's Anthology of Georgia Poets. You can contact him via his Twitter addresses in your program. Mike Say.
Proserpina, by Mike Say, after Bernini's The Rape of Proserpina. Pluto straps Proserpina across his hip. The way she rides up his torso pushes the brutish perfection of his head. She is nearly free, but his hot hands dig into the flawless white of her thigh, the exquisite pooch of the belly. If you poured oil down her side, she would slip free and fall, all her marble skin sprawling across the Borghese floor. And then what would she do? This god abducted with the dew still on her, genius of the cusping, creeping, peeling open spring. In this moment, she knows her created self is only another version of the marble tiles, does not marvel, but appalls, sees even Bernini's flaws in perspective. Her breasts too full, shoulders too strong, blunt nails, the skin tarnished at the heels. Her marble, so fragile, will crumble if she walks. And looking to you, she mules like a swarm of flies over an offering. Once God, remembering the power of blood and worship, she creeps out one arm, white as moonflower, holds the cracking elbow and shoulder together by will, and perhaps beseeching, cups your ankle like a vice, and turns to you that cheek with its tear that won't fall.
Sorry, I'm up. Thank you all for coming. One of the exciting things for me, I don't judge. I'm involved in acquiring preliminary readers, and I was trying to find readers who have diverse poetic sensibilities. People who aren't just trying to find writers who write like them. People can understand other aesthetics too. But I always get excited because I do see the list of winners before you guys do. You know, I don't read the poems that were submitted, but then I can go online and search them and see what they were like. Leela Chatty was someone I had never heard of. You know, and I said, Leela Chatty, and she's in Raleigh, you know. So I went online and looked her up, and I found out early, of course, that she's one of the many fine young writers being mentored by Dorian Locke. Dorian? And what struck me is that when I look at her work, it was like really fresh. It was a real fresh, vital voice. It was new, it was unique, but it also seemed informed by someone who had actually read a lot of poetry. So let's hear it for Lila.
Hi, it's nice to be here. I'm really excited to be here. I have all 3 poems today.
Yes,
Okay.
all three.
All right. Well, first, I guess before I read this first one, I'm a dual citizen. I'm Tunisian and I'm also American. My dad's Tunisian and my mother's American. And after everything that was going on in Tunisia and in the Middle East, I was doing a lot of reflecting and thinking about how I could write about that. Because it was something that was pressing on me, but I didn't know how to talk about it. And I was particularly haunted by the idea of Mohamed Bouazizi, a Tunisian man who, with little option, lit himself on fire and died. And that started the Jasmine Revolution in Tunisia, which started the Arab Spring. So this poem is for him. It's called Spark. As a child, they made us fear cigarette butts and firecrackers, which, when dropped, would catch everything ablaze. We watched the flames swallow Californian forests whole, eyeing with suspicion the flickering birthday candle, the onyx cord, the glistering bulb of the lamp. When you died, they gave you 2 minutes mention on American news before switching to the holiday sales, those red suits and snowflakes falling like ash. A December so still, I swear I could hear the snap, match against stone, hiss of life. And everywhere I looked, fleeting pinpricks of light, solitary embers burning, air choked already with smoke. This poem is titled, "A Woman Walks into Heaven and Hijacks Fate." We know what to do, women, so. The eyelids of an Iraqi child blink open again like a window shade lifted on a dark night. Dogs rise from shallow graves, wag their tails, come inside. The bullet unburrows itself like a steel caterpillar worming its way out of the school wall, hums the tunnel of the young heart, nuzzles back into its gun. The husband does not leave. The baby is never lost. The walls stay standing. In the marketplace, the parked car never erupts into light. No plume of fire, a chrysanthemum bloom rising like its own sun, and all the brilliant, shimmering dust stays whole. A quiet Sunday. The man sits back in his seat, turns the key, adjusts the mirror and sings in praise of her all the way home. And this final poem, my partner lives in Michigan, and I live here, as we're both going to graduate school. So this is a nice, quiet poem for him. It's called Shift. I am far from the man I love. I marvel a moment, the word, man. It is new, first time arrived quietly on my tongue. In the beginning, I said to my mother, I've met a nice boy. Now I say, I love a good man. Without my noticing, he walked from one word's room to another. My life unfurls as a series of these small, irreversible shifts. I visit him monthly. Each time I look closely, search his face for what I've missed. Thank you.
Time out, pretend I'm not stepping aside. Okay, this next